So I'm in my sister's apartment. It's kind of like a basement apartment in Winchester, Virginia. I don't remember the street, but she was like 18, 19, or 20. I don't remember how old she was, but anyway, she had an apartment. And there was a copy of a magazine that used to be worth a damn. It was called Time Magazine.
Yes, I remember.
And it was, yeah. And it was about, the bicentennial. And, you had all these great images of the Statue of Liberty and there really wasn't a lot of video. We were lucky if we had any of the three major networks that had TV stations running at the time. Maybe they were color, maybe they weren't, based on our TV. This is 1976, and so I remember looking at that. Gerald Ford was the
Yes.
president, and it got to me. Our family was not interested in politics. Our family did not think that God's kingdom had anything to do with human affairs. So I live in this dual space where I'm seeing things that I know are important, and I'm told then not to pay attention to that. That's Buddy, 1976.
I remember
But
all kinds of interesting things that time. During that time, 76, I had been I had been in this country for about 2 years from Cuba, and I
really,
and
okay, okay,
I remember because they were doing the skyjacking negotiations and returning skyjacking, we were actually talking to each other. That I thought for sure I'd be going back, and
oh wow,
but the 76, the spirit of 76 was everywhere, and so I was so excited about being in this
yeah,
country, and then the
yeah,
incredible stuff, and believe it or not, I know this is going to be kind of like unbelievable to the audience, especially the younger ones. But there was this sense of patriotism in Hollywood. It's amazing. They had this
yes, there
movie. They
was.
had this movie called Rocky, and Rocky wore like red, white, and blue. It was celebrating the 200th anniversary, and they were doing it because they had a boxing match in a way to celebrate the 200th year anniversary. And of course, Apollo had the red, white, and blue shorts and everything. It was Uncle Sam, and I remember the whole country being united in excitement over the 200th anniversary.
Well, it certainly felt that way, and so I recall the dichotomy of like looking at the disinterest from the household. I was 13 years old, and then me going like, "This is really cool." It's like I want to see these pictures. I can I go to New York? And no, I wasn't going to be able to go to New York, but the Statue of Liberty and all of that. The standard stuff that every student, every child should be able to actually absorb. You come here fresh. This is a big deal to you. How old are you in 76? I was 13. You were what?
I don't know.
Close to
Go
that?
to
Less than
that.
that?
Yeah,
More
I
than
was
that?
still in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, high school. High
Okay. Well,
school.
yeah.
Yeah,
Middle school, early junior
yeah.
high, let's say. Um, and so you're right about the Hollywood connection
It's great.
because it was a thing. They hadn't realized they needed to actually attack Christianity. They
Yeah,
needed to attack America icons. They needed to actually go after the founders, as bad guys, as slaveholders, as racists, etc. They developed that later
later.
when
Yeah.
the Democrats used to have viable contribution to the nation. They've been hijacked by communists and evil, and they have no value anymore, none
Yeah.
whatsoever.
It, it,
But then they did. Then they did. Then there was real valid discussions about policy and direction.
mhm.
We are Americans. Where do we go
Yeah,
next?
the Democrat Party was still a party, a true American political party that was in the interest of America. They had a different approach to things, but they weren't that much different than the other party. So now the infiltration of the nasty junkyard dogs of the left were getting in there, but they hadn't reached leadership position, so it hadn't reached critical mass. So everyone from Hollywood to left, right to the rich, the elitists, all of these people really came together. I remember all these special programs about 1776, and they had all this stuff about our founders. There were no attacks. There were no, believe it or not, I know this is really weird, like alternate universe, but believe it or not, everyone enjoyed the statues. There was no one with hammers going and sledgehammers knocking down In fact, It didn't upset anyone to see statues of our founders all over the place. So it was a
Well, no,
unifying thing.
you wanted to go, you wanted to go to the museums, you wanted to go to when these events are being happening. You wanted to go to the fireworks,
Mhm.
I mean, that's my recollection as
Yeah.
a 13-year-old kid.
Yes.
That was not that where that kind of active thought was actually, I would say, discouraged, you
Yeah.
know?
And
I
now
mean, and
it just
from the religious this narrow religious view my family had,
yeah,
and I wasn't I was in 2 places with my mind, well, many places with my mind, but now it's like, fait accompli, they have actually decimated
yeah.
and
It's
gutted
just
anything that's of merit,
within our lifetime.
and we got this.
Within our lifetime.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
whole
and it's
completely
like
different just a few minutes ago. I,
so
there are people that are kind of mid-level or low-level celebrities that have now canceled only because their names have been published and they got phone calls. And I can imagine the same party that complains about McCarthyism has got McCarthyism on steroids. They're attacking innocent performers who want to celebrate the 250th anniversary. And now, who would have thought Vanilli,
Milli
I didn't even
Vanilli.
know they were still alive. He canceled, and nobody knows him. Mr. Lip Sync himself has canceled, and so I have.
I think
I mean, a lot of people have canceled, and
well, good. I mean,
it's
I don't need them. I don't need their commercialism. I personally don't care. They deserve to be able to step up and shoot themselves in the foot on camera.
yeah,
The hell
it's
with
such
them.
a
The hell
shame,
with them.
such a shame. And then, but
Well,
what we
no,
still
because
have is the cage fights, and we still have
well, no,
the race in Washington D.C. That's going to be weird, surreal.
well, in terms of music and entertainment and patriotism. I mean, there are bands and performers that do gigs every week all over this country. They're there when you go into a bar on a weekend in Ocean City, let's say, and maybe it's not their main livelihood, but they have been doing it for years. They're really talented. Some of them do original work, mostly it's covers, but wouldn't it be cool if you had people like that from the grassroots, from the small towns, from this city or that city, that don't give a GD about these attitudes that have been promoted as
Well,
valid and center from the left.
yeah.
They're not valid opinions. And wouldn't it be great if you could handpick some local entertainers and put them on a national stage?
Well, I think that's what's going to be
Wouldn't that be
the
great?
go-to because these people now, the left doesn't mess around. And I understand why the entertainers, the jesters are afraid. The blacklist is very real. And what I would like to do is I want to hold the people accountable for the blacklisting. We did that in the 50s. We need to do that now. The people who made the phone calls. Now we need somebody who was threatened to go ahead and be brave enough, like our founders were, who were willing to sacrifice their sacred honor and their treasure for this country. Obviously,
Well,
people won't.
so I was talking to Scott Daniels the other day. We did a podcast about the relevancy of the founding principles, and I heard myself say this. I'm gonna have to quote me. These guys on the cusp of history pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. And I heard myself say this: lives and fortunes will come and go, but it's sacred honor that is what endures and pushes through history. I didn't say it that way, but that was what I was saying. And so where is your sacred honor? Is it about your commercial license of viability for the next, 18 months or 3 weeks? No. I mean, do you think I'm sure they're going to have Lee Greenwood there.
Yeah, but
And
he's
some
not on the
others.
list. But I think he's going to have to be on now.
But
Oh,
I'm serious about local performers who would just like love to be like, we want you at the 250.
the 250.
Trump's
That's
asking for you.
such an
You
honor
know,
to be there at our
we'll
250th.
we'll send you plane tickets. If you can bring your equipment. If you need stuff, let us know. Let's get you lined up. You do really good work in your hometown. Why don't you come play for the nation? That's Buddy Bishop's suggestion. But we're going to be celebrating
Yes.
because I'm looking forward to the next one. I mean, it's possible that I could still be breathing air and walking on this terrestrial sphere in another 50 years. It's very possible, and to see the 300th,
That would be
the
something.
tricentennial.
That would be
So this is the 250, the midway point, and the Tea Party, the Virginia Tea Party,
Are we doing
is
something for that?
also.
What are we
Go
doing
ahead.
that? Are we celebrating 250? I mean, Washington's doing it.
Yes,
We're the Tea Party. We
yes,
have to do it.
we are. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we've got lined up on June 20th.
Oh, I'm so glad
Um,
we're talking about this. I wore the shirt just for that reason.
well, Nelson goes, "Hey, let's just talk about, where things were, we'll remember, and then we'll talk about our plans." I said, "Okay, it's a great idea." So on June 20th at the Richmond Sheraton, we're going to open up with a very patriotic opening ceremony, with colonial level type, period music, with an expert flutist or flautist. Michelle Matz will be doing that for us. You're supposed to do the opening, and then Z Van Fleet will rejoin us like she has done for a previous summit,
Ah,
right?
yes, this is
Um,
exciting. And she's got a new book out. Made in America is about America. It's about how she's dealing with all this, the same patterns that she saw in China, and maybe solutions. So, mind you, this is going to be a whole new kind of presentation by her and her new book. She's bringing her new book. I'm going to get one to the summit for sale. But she came on our summit before she became famous. So it's
but
I'm
yeah,
glad
and
she's come
she's
back.
been involved with the Virginia Council, and so when you listen to her, it's like, I thought I could get away from that, and it followed me here, but she didn't say it quite that way.
It's awful,
But it's
awful. Yeah.
it's so strange that you can lie to people all the time, and then you can't convince them they've been lied to. People that have been under the rule and the boot and the thumb of oppressive, tyrannical communist regimes will look at idiots in America and going, I just got out of that. What is wrong with you? And of course the idiots won't listen. Um, I don't think they would listen to even their own friends told them, well, we were wrong. I don't think they're capable of it, but it's true. The only place that's worth living as a free breathing human being is on an America that has a vector of promise to the future. I'm sorry, you can do whatever else with what you want, but as long as America exists and America, republicanism exists and the vision of freedom and liberty for everybody exists, then you got everyone else having something to actually focus around.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Here's the thing: you can have a lot of people talk to you, and talk to people who are kind of like haven't taken the red pill yet, and they're in this kind of alternate universe, and they somehow, somewhere, they understand the damage that the left is promising to do and has done, but it doesn't connect to their politics. It's just really strange. But you have someone that actually lived there. That gives that person credibility. So someone from China saying, "This is what I've seen. This is what I've seen." That actually breaks through the cycle of blocking all this relevant information. That's why I'm excited that Van Fleet is going to be speaking at our summit.
so So I'm looking forward to that, because that message of like, hey, I've been there, I have the experience. Will you cut this crap? You're putting people's lives and futures at risk with your idiocy.
Hmm.
That's not her message per se, but it's an undercurrent. But then we're going to do something that, we have not seen. I mean, I'm sure these performers do it external. Actually, the reason I know of the "Give Me Liberty and Give Me Death" reenactment speech that's done at St. John's Church is because, during the Gulf War, Glenn Beck came to Richmond and he had one of their presenters do Patrick Henry's speech. And I remember standing there in a parking lot in front of a stage with what Glenn Beck was presenting. And then Patrick Henry, the reenactor, started speaking. And I had an experience. It's like I'd never seen that. It's like it was stunning, absolutely stunning. And I was enthralled by this presentation, and I never forgot it. Eventually, I was able to, with my own strange little interaction with reality, find St. John's Church, go to an actual reenactment session. It is something that every American and everybody should actually be able to sit through and see the crucible of the argument, and they get down to exactly where we're going. Are we going to have this sense of security with bonds and chains under a tyrannical king or not. So, all these things are iconic in that terms of what is our chains now? What would really represent a tyrannical king to us now versus do we make our own decisions? Do we have a chance to have a full lung of air on our own pull and accord tomorrow? And is that just for us now for the moment, or is it for our progeny and our future? I mean, all of that was boiled down in that room, and we're going to actually have that reviewed
Dude,
there as part of our
isn't
celebration.
that exciting, buddy?
We're almost at the same crossroads again,
Yeah.
250 years later. Are we going? But in this case, it's not so much a king, but the tyranny of mind, where you're not even able to think clearly and see past the ruse and the manipulation and the control. That's the kind of oppressive tyranny we're looking at now, and we have a chance because there are enough of us, I think, to actually continue to fight, to continue to hold these things dear and true, and to recognize that the future of liberty is worth a risk, whereas the guarantee of security for the moment is a lie and illusion, and is definitely going to result in no future of any liberty.
Yes.
A crossroads piece. But then after we'll have a little bit of lunch, and then we'll have a something that's really connected to it programmatically and policy wise. Mark Mix from the Right to Work organization is going to give us an update, and it's like things aren't as absolutely slam dunk evil and bad as they may
Right.
seem.
That's right.
And it's like, okay. So he'll talk about that, and then we'll in the
Well, with Mark Mix,
the
remember, he's going to be right to work, and specifically, the reason Buddy's not doom and gloom on this is because we were able to shut that down for this year.
well,
For this year,
it
yeah.
was, yeah, it was pushed
So it's
back.
pushed back,
Yeah.
but we stopped them, because if we couldn't stop them, they would have passed it and would have destroyed our economy. Our small businesses and our major corporations would be fleeing at this point. So he's going to talk about that. We talk about our victories. We're going to talk about our victories because that's a good thing to do, and we're going to talk about that formula victory to recreate that next year and the future battles to come.
I'm really glad to see these nuts trip over themselves, and I'm looking forward to the infighting.
I
I,
like
I
it.
really
Isn't it
enjoy the
wonderful?
epic
Even the newspapers
failure
can't
these people are
suppress that
experiencing.
news from coming out. Yeah, it's so bad that even we're hearing about it.
um, so then after that, we'll have, I think, one of the most important things, and it's taken a pattern that we've seen succeed in other states with voter registration drives. Ned Ryan is going to be focusing on that. What I really remember most about Ned Ryan when he's been before, and he's been a big supporter of our summits, is the notion of messaging was something that he drove home, and I always remember
Right.
because it's a challenge. We think analytically, we think factually, but we need to think message wise. But this one is going to be about voter registration. It's a pragmatic thing to do to actually stock the voters that are going to be looking for the benefit of liberty and future for everyone later,
Mhm. And,
as far as I understand it.
and that formula is what happened in Pennsylvania. That's why that wasn't really a close.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Pennsylvania and in Florida, it began with that. What, maybe 5, 6 years ago, when it was like Virginia, it was very, very close, and now it is a super majority. And that that the key to that was the registration. And from the
Mhm.
reports that we're having now, going into 2026, going into the midterms, there's there's actually more Republicans for the very first time getting registered to vote. For whatever reason, Americans aren't exactly excited to register as Democrats as they have in the past. And so there are a lot more. And so they're about to lose New Mexico, they're about to lose Utah, and there's a few other states that the tipping point is about to be breached. And it's all due to the registrations, the tactics used. So that is what Ned Ryan's going to bring to us. And I think
Yes.
after the last election in Virginia, we really need something because we were obliterated.
Well,
That's
Well, we did, and so someone, I mentioned this, I'm sure more than once. Someone's, and I was lamenting about how badly the gubernatorial era elections went at the end of 2025, and and I said no one's done any measure. We don't really know why people didn't turn out, and I'm saying no one's got any data. And this guy, He goes, buddy, people will show up to vote when there's something to show up and vote for. And it's like, damn it. Okay, forget the data. That was a lackluster show, and I guess they thought they had it in the bag. And it's like, you let us down, and you can't blame the people that didn't show, because we're on a different conversation level. They see their lives in one way. We may see their lives in another. Show up and vote. But if there's nothing to vote for, they're not going to show up and do it. So it's like, let's just get with that. So with Ned Ryan's presentation, with strategy and specifically ballot chasing as something that's been worked out in Pennsylvania, and I can't remember the guy's name. Who was the young man that pulled that off? Scott Pressler. Yeah. So that's the summary of I mean, every cylinder fires on this summit. Celebrate 250. And it's June 20th. I actually am looking forward to it. I do want to thank some of the sponsors. If you have data on that now, and I don't know if I have the full list of our sponsors. We'll list them at the end when we conclude, and give them a thank you for that, because that makes it possible. Your attendance makes it possible. You can go online now at vatp.org, and you'll see that little banner about register. So click that, get your tickets. They're $45, which is a slight tiny increase, but it includes lunch. So
and
it includes one of the better
in the show.
Yeah, and we got quite a lineup. It's something to actually look forward to and make plans to attend.
Yes, get the tickets
got time.
as soon as possible. This is a month out. Or even more than a month out. We were already full in terms of our natural allies supporting this summit. It is because it's a special one. It's a historic one. It is a milestone for America. And so they want to be there. I know that people want to be there too. And I think we're about to do a promotional push, but this is one that you shouldn't miss. This is the event of the year. This is the one. We've had great summits always in the past. We've had summits we could be proud of, but this one's going to be the same way, but it's also going to be personal, and it's also going to have that historic sense to it. So if you can come, bring the kids, bring them. It's going to be so important to pass this on to the next generation. Get the tickets as soon as you can.
Good idea. I mean, there's content here that connects you to the past and to the future. I mean, these bicentennial, and what is the term for the 250? The bicentennial 0.5. I don't know what the term for it is when you have whatever the magic number for 250 is. But there's the measure mark. There's the observation. It's a national thing, and it connects our identity to the past and to the future. And in this way, people that have been in the trenches and will be in the trenches and continue to actually promote the future of American republicanism and American liberty.
That's the key. Yeah. And just so that I can emphasize this, yes, there's going to be great natural allies. But if you bring the kids in, I want to let you know now, Turning Point will be there. And if they're college age or high school age, Turning Point has a place for them so that they can get involved now. So it'll be very exciting for them, and it'll be a very good thing for you to do for our future, to bring the kids, the grandkids with you.
Man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
The Virginia Tea Party presents America 250 Summit, celebrating America's anniversary. 250 years ago, a bold experiment in self-government began. Today, we gather to honor that legacy and to strengthen it for the future. Join us on June 20th, 2026 at the Richmond Sheraton Airport Hotel. The day begins with opening prayer, Pledge of Allegiance, and the national anthem. Witness a powerful Patrick Henry reenactment. Hear featured presentations from Z Van Fleet, author of Mouse America. She brings a survivor's clear-eyed warning. Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Organization, delivers critical updates on protecting worker freedom in Virginia. Ned Ryan, founder of American Majority, shares proven strategies for voter registration and victory. Share lunch with fellow patriots. and leave with strategic training for the year ahead. This is more than just a conference. It's a celebration of 250 years of liberty and a call to continue the work. The America 250 Summit, June 20th, 2026, Richmond Sheraton Airport Hotel. Just $45, lunch included. Register today at vatp.org.